Welcome back with me, Steve Hand, for Lessons in Property. And this week, we've got the old dinosaur, Paul Rawson. So what he doesn't know isn't worth knowing. He's been around the block a fair bit, dealt with all sorts of clients. So today, we're going to talk about how to get started in property development.
Two things, right? Dinosaur. I'm not that much older than you. You're the one giving the lessons there. I've taught you everything you know, by the way. Hey, how to get going? Beg, borrow and steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a generalisation. We're assuming people are not fortunate enough to have a ton of cash on this discussion, yeah?
Yeah.
So probably most people who get into property, they tend to be a little bit later on in life. Not always, but 30s, 40s, maybe even a little bit older.
Yeah.
And the obvious place is they've maybe bought a residential property, it's gone up in value, mortgage has not been paid down, and they tap that equity, just raise some money against it. Creates cash and off they go. And it's not just limited then to that cash. They then start to maybe combine that with other forms of borrowing, whether it be a buy-to-let mortgage to acquire property, or as you'll know, bridging and development to get hold of something, make it bigger and better, and then refinance out, maybe even pull more money out than what they put in, maybe sell it and get even more money out than what they put in, and go again. And the small acorns and oak trees. Other methodology that we see people using, my own personal favourite, because it's how I started, was the old let to buy. So raise money against the property that they're currently in, but rent that out.
Yeah.
And then go and buy another one to live in. And the advantage being is your deposit on the next one is a lot less because it's your main residence.
Yeah, you're maximising the equity that you've got.
Correct, but then you've still ended up with two properties. And if you're smart about it, or prepared to be, maybe make that residence a house that needs a bit of work that needs doing to it. You improve it while you're in there, and then you can go again on another let to buy. And the beauty of it is you're creating, obviously you could sell it of course as well, you don't have to let to buy it all the time.
If you wanted more capital out,
more capital out. But what's the great thing about houses that you've lived in and done up and sell?
Yeah, tax-free.
Tax-free. So,
we like that.
So you can take a little bit of that, buy another house to live in, keep the rest to one side for bigger and better things.
Brilliant.
Other methodology, depends how generous maybe friends and family are. If you've not maybe got your own cash or your own property to utilise, maybe you've got a parent or a relative who's willing to put up the collateral as risk, or sometimes even take money out. We've seen that.
Yeah, we have.
Years. Yeah. I know all these things don't work for everyone, by the way, but you asked me the question.
There are options, aren't
You asked me the question, and that we call a cross-collateral charge, but I'm assuming you've probably got a lessons in property episode on that.
Yeah.
So let's not go too much into the detail there. But, if mums, dads, brothers, sisters, friends even, you can charge against that. Combine it with a charge on the property that you're acquiring as the investment, and that could fully fund it.
Yeah, because that's just to cover the shortfall, isn't it? Maybe the deposit.
Absolutely.
You pull in a friend or a family member.
Yeah, people maybe are conjuring up ideas of, I need hundreds of thousands of pounds to raise to get going in property. We've seen people do it with 20 and 30,000.
Oh, yeah. Even for sites that have got end values of like $1 million plus, you don't necessarily need a great deal, do you? If you've got equity in your main residence or a buy-to-let, or you've got somebody, a friend, family member that wants to come in on the project and they've got the benefit of equity in one of their houses, then you can take a charge against that, and then you form like a special purpose vehicle, don't you, for the new project? So various ways of doing it.
Well, let's look at the one that we use when we're doing the education courses. In essence, you've got a project there with a GDV of over £3 million, and the developer's putting in just under 50,000.
Just under 50, yeah.
Which is still a lot of money, don't get me wrong, and it might scare a lot of people, but that's...
as a percentage, it's minimal, isn't it?
Yeah. People who get their head around. Now, this is the thing. Speak to any of our successful property investors, ones who've been doing it many years and have even hundreds of properties. The one thing when you ask them what's the secret to their success, apart from dealing with us guys, of course, getting the best finance, is they buy right. And that's where it starts and stops for them, and they get that. And what I'm alluding to there is that as well as maybe raising funds against your assets or assets of other people, you can also utilise maybe the discounts that you can agree on the value of a property that you're acquiring. When we've gone through all these things, I suppose it's quite easy to think, that's one way of doing it, that's one way of doing it, that's another way of doing it. Actually, in reality, what we often find is that it's a combination of more than one of those elements.
Yes.
So to get a project off the ground, let's just say you need 100,000 and you're only willing or capable to get 30,000 of it out of your own house. I'm making up as I go along here, yeah? But you've got a willing friend or relative who says, well, I'll let you secure another 40,000 against our assets. So what's that, 70,000, yeah? But you've managed to get that particular property at a good discount. We might be able to utilise that to cover the 30,000.
You know what that is, don't you?
What?
That's my protein alarm. Right, we'll carry on.
Has to be. Where was it up to? So 70,000.
Yeah.
You've managed to acquire the property in question at a really good discount. There are lenders out there that will say, well, we'll allow the remaining 30,000 to be in the bricks and mortar value that you've negotiated as a discount.
Yeah.
So it might be that to get going, you utilise more than one methodology.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
you know, the obvious thing is obviously always against your main residence, cheapest money.
Lowest form of interest.
Other buy-to-lets that you've got, further advances. Second charges, not even touched on those. And those are for people as well who've got very little equity in the property, because you can actually raise above its value if you're willing and able to do so. Let to buys, bridging and development finance, cross-collateral charges, below market value discounts. Have I missed anything here?
Maybe just JVing with a funder.
Investor money. Or...
more like an institution or a lender.
Oh, yeah. So do some big ticket stuff on that. 100% funding, yeah.
100% funding.
People think, it doesn't exist. Well, we just completed on one on Friday, I think, for 1.8 million, was it?
Yeah. No funds going in from the developer?
No, they paid for the valve fee, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Maybe like $1,000 or something.
No, I'm messing. But no deposit.
Yeah.
Not for the site, nothing towards the construction costs.
No. So for that guy, that's an additional project to however many he would normally do. So even if he's sharing the profits with the lender, you know, on 1.8 million end value, the profits are probably going to be, I don't know, 400 or 500 grand. He's then getting half of that. Yeah. So not a bad deal.
Now you're touching on the mindset that we have the battle with people at times, don't we? It's like, we'll get it fully funded, but you're going to have to share your profits. I'm not doing that.
Oh, no.
All right, well, just do the 2 projects that you've maxed out on already and don't earn $500,000 out of that one. Not because your principles are...
Exactly.
But fair play to that developer. He's seen the light and gone, right, so I'm doing that one, I'll do that one. I couldn't have done that one unless I took this finance.
Yeah.
So some profit's better than...
Definitely.
So that's 8. Is that 8? 8 ways of getting going in property?
I think it is about 8, yeah. There's many ways of getting going in property. It can be creative, so you don't have to think traditionally, I've got to sell this asset, or my friend or family member has to sell this asset to bring in the capital. No, there's many ways without having to do that.
And of course, this is outside of investor finance. You know, we're talking about mainstream funding through institutions, banks, building societies, bridging companies. We're limiting this conversation to that.
Yeah.
And I suppose mathematically, if you look at the possible permutations of those 8, probably the actual possibility is... I couldn't do the maths on that actually. But
no, spider's web, isn't it?
Huge amounts.
Lots.
We've seen it for 20 years, you've seen it, and before you know it, they're off and running and they don't need the expensive JV finance. That's the other thing, isn't it?
And I think the key is that there's a lender for everyone, isn't there?
Yeah,
you know, there's lenders out there that won't get out of bed unless the project's going to be at least 10 million quid as a loan, but there's lenders that will lend from 20 odd grand. So something for everybody depending on where you're at, you know, on the property spectrum.
Will that do?
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Rawson.
No problem.
And next week there'll be something as equally interesting in Lessons in Property.